trying to keep business in the family. This was not a question, but I had a client today that reminded me about many other clients with similar issues. They're mostly men, and they have aged, have created, in many cases, big businesses. And because nature is all about the cells passing on information to other cells so that they can survive, we have this innate feeling or desire to pass on our business to our children, especially in many cultures, maybe not all, but in most cultures, especially the boys, only because the boys are guaranteed to keep our name. This might sound silly once we become civilized, but you see, we are still playing the survival game. So we have this desire for our name to survive, our family name. And we pay a lot of attention to our family name, even though it means absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. But that's another story. Now, there are two things that would help us to understand so that we will not suffer trying to get our children to understand our business. First, it will help us to understand that it is our business, not theirs. If they want it, if they like it, then you're very lucky. But because we were working long hours to make this money, or simply to run a business, we kept on telling ourselves, I'm doing it for my children, simply because we were not comfortable doing what we like. Many souls have come here to create in the physical. They can easily create in the etheric, simply because your thoughts create your reality instantly. And they wanted to see what it was like in the physical. So, a lot of these souls are business people. So if you are one of them, feel comfortable with the fact that you have devoted your life to business. And don't give away your power by saying phrases like, I am doing it for my children, or I am doing it for the family, or, oh, this is nice, but it's not worth anything if you cannot pass it on to your children. Think of this for a moment. That phrase makes absolutely no sense. You are doing all of this for you. Accept it, and then when you are done, if your children want it, again, that is nice. However, in most cases, your children have come here for something different. And you are either guilt-tripping them or forcing them to take over your business. And eventually, this business, this company or group of companies will not succeed. Not necessarily because your children were not capable. It wasn't what they came here for. Their soul isn't into it as much as your soul was. And you're making your children's life miserable because they are doing something they do not want to do, or something they did not come here to do. And then they also resent you. They might not admit this, But because they are forced to do something they did not come here to do, there's always resentment there. I will talk about today's client in a moment. First, I want to mention something else too. Most people that have made a lot of money, we're not talking about this young generation, the older one, that have made a lot of money, did not have such an easy life in the beginning of their life. And this was actually one of the things that is driving them to always succeed. And then they take care of their children a little too much. And they say phrases like, I want my children to have everything. Or, I don't want my children to go without like I did. Yes, but you see, this going without is what made you the success you are today. We're not saying keep your children hungry. However, there is a phrase in America called knowing the value of the dollar. If your children simply keep getting money without doing anything for it, they will never understand the value of the dollar, how much it is worth. You might send them to the best universities, but this is only numbers. They study economics and they don't know how to sell an ice cream. So it would really help you to teach your children what money is worth. I remember seeing an interview once by a son of a billionaire. He's very famous. He's running for president now in America. Well, he's actually running for the Republican ticket. And in that interview, his son said, when I went to college, my father told me, I will pay for your college, but any money you want, you are going to have to work for it. I'm not giving you any spending money. And even though his father was at that time worth hundreds of millions of dollars, he explained how every summer he used to work to have pocket money for the other 8 or 9 months while he was in college. And now all 3 of his adult children, not the son, the father, all 3 of his adult children are working for his company. Not because they are his children, because they have learned the value of money, the worth, how money, I was going to say the word moves, but that's not the thing. That's not the right word. See, they learned how to make money. And so many times, if we have money, we do not teach our children how to make it. But we expect them to take over multi-million-dollar corporations. How are they going to do this? And then we think our children are stupid. It's not that. It's simply that we gave them everything and we did not teach them how to make money. So if you still have young children and you have some money, focus on teaching them about money. Now, in today's client, it was a little bit funny. Don't laugh. He's got 4 children, 1 boy and 3 girls. And he was asking questions about, can my son take over my company? And his higher self was saying, no, but one of your daughters can. And I was seeing that this daughter was actually older than the son. And I said, I don't know which daughter it is, but she is older than the son. And he was saying yes, yes, and then asking about the son again. Was not interested in the daughter at all taking over his company. He needed the son to take over the company. Then the soul explains, because the soul is a little polite sometimes, and especially because the guy did not speak English, I did not speak his language, so we had a translator, and the translator was the guy's personal assistant. So the soul, I'm assuming, was trying to be polite and said, the son has come here for different things, has come to earth for different things, and this is why it's better to train the daughter for taking over your company. Yes, yes, and going back to the son again, did not want to hear anything about the daughter. Eventually, I guess his soul could not take it anymore and says, listen, your son simply does not have the intellectual capacity to run your company, as for your daughter does. Then he got it. He sat back a little bit on his chair and he was quiet for about 20-30 seconds. And then he looks at me in the eye and says, in his language of course, this is the one thing I have been in denial of for most of my son's life, because I did not want to admit that my son is not as smart as I am. And then his soul explained that his son simply did not come here to play the survival game, so he did not have to be as smart. He came here for something totally different. The son is not stupid by any means. He's just not what we would call a fox, meaning really quick, really witty. So you saw that guy totally change after this. Not because he found out his son is not the smartest person on the planet, but because he accepted it. And it wasn't a judgment towards the son. It was, look, he doesn't need to be that quick as you are. Because he did not choose circumstances where he would have to be quick in order to survive. So, if your children are not as witty, as fast as you are, it does not mean they are stupid. It simply means they have come to earth for something else. Maybe they simply came to enjoy earth, meaning enjoy the physical. And they chose someone who has money so that they could enjoy it even more, or even easier. So there are many reasons why we cannot always pass on our business to our family, to our children, in this case to our son. Don't take it personally, because you will feel like a failure. Everybody naturally wants children that are smarter than them. Actually, they don't, but let's pretend we do, because we don't. We want children that need us. And if you're needy, you cannot be that intelligent. So if you do want children that are smarter than you, you're going to have to create the environment for them to become smart. Because environment has so much to do with street smarts, as we say. Finishing in the top 1% the top universities does not necessarily mean you are intelligent. If you want intelligent children, think, ask yourself, what was it that made me intelligent? Since we're talking about this has nothing to do with the title, Trying to Keep Business in the Family. How do I say this now without upsetting some people? I've lived in many countries with a high immigrant population. I myself grew up in an immigrant family in Australia. Children of immigrants are quite quick thinking. The biggest reason is we live in two different cultures. We speak two different languages fluently. However, we would like to be a part of the culture we live in, but our parents want us to hold on to the culture they come from. So we actually have to be double agents. And we have to learn from a young age what we should not tell our parents. Like, I remember progress for my parents was not called progress. It was called Australian. And it had nothing to do with the nationality. It was simply progress. So we had to think quickly and only let them know what would not offend their culture or what would not upset them. This in turn, or eventually, this makes you smart. It helps you think quickly and make quick decisions. And then, as we grow up, it is much easier for us to be very good at what we do, especially in our jobs. Because having to kind of lie, not outright lie, but having to always know what not to say, makes you very quick thinking. I don't know why I said this. Yes, it came to me when I said, sit down and think, what was it that made you smart? And then create that environment for your children. And it crossed my mind, what was it that made me smart? And I think what it was I had to live a double life. Not totally double as in, as I said before, I had to be a double agent. I was living an Australian life outside the house and a Greek life inside the house. So yes, let's see if there's anything else about trying to keep business in the family. I don't think I have anything, but I have seen too many men, I'm sure women as well, but they haven't come to me. Too many men feel like failures because they could not understand how they could create $200 and $300 and $400 million businesses and not create the kind of children they wish they had. But you see, children are not there so that we can mold them to what we want them to be. Children are souls first. And those souls have come here for their lessons and their lessons only. If you always keep this in mind, it will be easier for you not to feel like a failure. Because this particular subject has nothing to do with you being a failure. See your children as a soul first. I will leave it at this.